Imagine a tiny snowball at the top of a hill. Alone, it's small, fragile, and barely noticeable. Yet, as it begins to roll, it picks up a little snow, gaining size, gaining weight, gaining speed. Every turn, every inch, it gathers more, until what started as a small, almost invisible action becomes an unstoppable force, carrying everything in its path forward. That, my friends, is the story of personal growth, the snowball effect in motion. The truth is, most people underestimate the power of starting small. They look at the mountain of success ahead and feel overwhelmed. They wait for the perfect moment, the big break, or the inspiration to hit them like lightning. But life rarely works that way. Success, confidence, and mastery are not handed out in giant leaps. They are earned in the quiet daily decisions we make, the tiny habits we nurture, the small disciplines we honor, even when no one is watching. Every day presents a choice. Will you take the step that feels uncomfortable but necessary? Will you read that one chapter, make that one phone call, write that one paragraph, or push through that one challenge? It may feel insignificant now, but each act is snow, adding to the growing ball of your life. Over time, those tiny steps compound, accelerating beyond imagination. The small victories stack, the momentum builds, and suddenly you find yourself moving faster, achieving more, becoming someone you barely recognized a few months ago. And here's the secret: momentum doesn't just amplify results, it transforms perspective. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. What once seemed unreachable comes within your grasp. Your confidence grows, your mindset shifts, and doors begin to open in ways you never anticipated. This is the snowball effect of personal growth, and it begins with one small, intentional choice today. It all begins with a single step. Many people look at their goals, their dreams, their visions for the future, and they feel overwhelmed by the distance between where they are and where they want to be. They see the mountain, the long road, the countless obstacles, and they hesitate. They wait for a big moment, a sudden surge of luck, a massive opportunity that will catapult them forward. But that is not how life works. Real change, profound growth, and lasting success do not come from a single monumental act. They come from the accumulation of small, deliberate steps taken consistently over time. The power of personal growth lies not in the grand gestures, but in the quiet, almost invisible actions that build momentum, shaping character, abilities, and circumstances. Just as a tiny snowball begins rolling at the top of a hill, gathering size and speed as it descends, so too does personal development grow through small, intentional steps. One page read, one habit formed, one decision made. These may seem insignificant at first, but they are the building blocks of transformation. Consider the life of anyone you admire, anyone who has achieved mastery, excellence, or remarkable success. Look closely, and you will see a common pattern. Their achievements did not start with a leap into fame or fortune. They started with small choices, often unnoticed by the world. The author begins by writing a few paragraphs each day, not expecting immediate publication or acclaim. The entrepreneur begins by studying markets, making small decisions about what products or services to explore, experimenting cautiously before risking large sums of money. The athlete begins with consistent training, minute by minute, day by day, focusing on technique, endurance, and incremental improvement rather than immediate victory. These small steps, compounded over time, create a snowball of momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. The reason so many people fail to grasp this principle is because they overestimate the importance of dramatic results and underestimate the value of steady progress. They look at others who have achieved greatness and assume they got there overnight. They see a polished end product, a best-selling book, a thriving business, a championship title, and they forget the countless small actions that built up to that moment. The truth is, there is no shortcut around consistency. There is no substitute for laying one brick at a time. A single brick may seem meaningless, but as bricks accumulate, walls rise, floors are constructed, a building emerges. Similarly, each small action in your life, no matter how insignificant it may feel, is a brick in the structure of your future. Let us speak specifically about habits because they are the engine of small steps. Habits are the compound interest of personal development. One healthy meal, one workout, one positive thought, one page read, one moment of patience or self-discipline. Each may appear trivial on its own. But when these choices are made consistently, they multiply. They begin to shape your identity. You are what you repeatedly do. If you choose small, positive actions day after day over weeks, months, and years, you gradually transform into a person capable of achievements far beyond your initial imagination. Conversely, neglecting small actions, allowing tiny lapses, and making minor excuses accumulate as well, often quietly eroding your potential. Growth and decay are both compound processes. The difference lies in intention and awareness. Small steps also protect against discouragement and fear. Facing a massive goal all at once can paralyze you. The mind rebels against grand visions when they seem too distant, too challenging, too overwhelming. But by focusing on the next small action, you remove the pressure of immediate, total success. You simplify your path. You focus on what is within reach today, knowing that each step moves you forward. It is far easier to say, I will read 10 pages today, than I will write a best-selling novel this year. It is far easier to commit to walking 30 minutes than to promise yourself a marathon in 6 months. Yet the 10 pages read today become 20 pages tomorrow, then 50, then hundreds. The 30 minutes walk today strengthens your endurance, your discipline, and your confidence until running a marathon is no longer intimidating. It becomes achievable because the small steps have built a foundation that supports it. Another powerful aspect of small steps is that they create momentum. Momentum is energy in motion, and energy in motion is easier to maintain than energy at rest. When you take the first step, no matter how small, you engage your potential. You signal to yourself and to the universe that you are moving. Each subsequent step becomes easier because you have already begun, because you have already committed. The snowball grows not because it was forced, but because it picked up speed naturally as it rolled, collecting more snow, gaining weight, and increasing its power. Similarly, the human mind and spirit respond to progress. Confidence grows as competence grows. Motivation strengthens as effort bears fruit, even if those fruits are small at first. There is an invisible force at work. The more you do, the more you are capable of doing. Now, this principle is not limited to professional or external achievements. Small steps are equally powerful in shaping character, relationships, emotional resilience, and mindset. Speaking kindly to someone once may seem minor, but repeated consistently, it fosters trust and deeper connection. Practicing gratitude for a few moments each day may feel insignificant, but over time it reshapes perspective, cultivating optimism and resilience. Learning one new idea a day may appear trivial, but within months, you are capable of insights and decisions that once seemed unattainable. The snowball effect applies to every dimension of life because growth is universal. When you make small, intentional choices consistently, the results eventually become visible, undeniable, and transformational. The challenge for most people is patience. We want immediate recognition, instant results, and rapid validation. But small steps demand time, persistence, and faith in the process. We must trust that what we cannot yet see is being built, that the compound effects of consistent effort are silently shaping our future. We must resist the temptation to quit, to compare ourselves to others, or to abandon the small, seemingly insignificant actions because they feel too slow. Remember, the snowball is small at the top of the hill. Its power is hidden at first, but it does not remain small for long if it is allowed to roll, gather, and grow. Finally, the beauty of small steps is their accessibility. Everyone has the power to take one action today. Everyone can make a choice that aligns with growth, that contributes to the larger vision, that honors the person they want to become. You do not need extraordinary talent, immense resources, or perfect timing to begin. All you need is the willingness to start, the courage to take one step, and the patience to continue. That first step is the most important because it sets everything else in motion. It signals commitment. It begins the snowball effect. Consistency is the quiet force that separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who aspire from those who arrive. It is often overlooked, undervalued, and misunderstood because it is invisible at first glance. People look for the flashes of brilliance, the moments of inspiration, the overnight breakthroughs, and they wonder why they themselves are not progressing at the same rate. Yet what they fail to see is that the real power of personal growth does not come from the moments of inspiration, but from the relentless, steady application of effort over time. Consistency is the engine that drives momentum, the invisible architect of transformation, the steady drumbeat that transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary achievers. Without consistency, talent falters, vision fades, and opportunities slip through the fingers of even the most capable people. It is not enough to know what to do. It is not enough to have a goal or a plan. Progress comes only when action is repeated, habitually, persistently, day after day, without exception or compromise. Consider the lives of the most successful people you know, the ones whose accomplishments seem almost effortless in retrospect. Look beneath the surface and you will discover a pattern that repeats itself over and over again. Consistent effort, often invisible to the outside world, is what laid the foundation for their achievements. The writer who publishes a bestseller did not create it in a single sitting. They wrote a page, then another, until the book emerged from months and years of disciplined writing. The entrepreneur who built a thriving business did not secure all the contracts, acquire all the customers, or generate massive revenue in a single day. They showed up consistently, making calls, sending emails, refining products, learning from mistakes, improving processes, and slowly but surely, progress accumulated. The athlete who wins championship after championship does not reach that level overnight. Day after day, year after year, they follow their regimen, training, conditioning, and perfecting their skills, even when no one is watching, even when results are not immediately evident. Consistency is the engine that transforms potential into reality, that converts effort into achievement, that molds character alongside competence. One of the key reasons consistency is so powerful is that it compounds. Much like the principle of compound interest in finance, repeated actions over time yield results far greater than any single effort could produce. Reading one page of a book each day may seem inconsequential. Exercising for 15 minutes each morning may feel minor. Saving a small amount of money regularly may appear insignificant. But each of these actions performed with consistency accumulates. Pages become chapters. Chapters become books. Minutes of exercise build endurance, strength, and resilience. Small savings grow into substantial wealth. The magic of consistency lies in its cumulative effect. The results are not always immediately visible, and this is precisely why many people give up too soon. They expect dramatic change, immediate validation, or instant reward, and when these do not appear, they conclude that their effort is futile. Yet what they fail to understand is that consistency does its work quietly, invisibly, steadily, and over time, it transforms lives. The key is patience, the willingness to trust the process, and the courage to show up even when progress feels invisible. Consistency also builds trust in yourself, trust in your abilities, and trust in the process of growth. When you commit to a consistent course of action, you demonstrate to yourself that you are reliable, capable, and disciplined. This self-trust becomes a foundation of confidence that fuels further action. You begin to believe not only in the potential of what you can achieve, but in your own capacity to achieve it. Without consistency, doubt creeps in, hesitation takes root, and fear gains strength. Every day you show up, even in small ways, you reinforce a mental pattern. You can count on yourself, you can deliver, you can make progress. Over time, this internal consistency becomes a feedback loop, strengthening your commitment and reinforcing positive behaviors. Confidence, once seen as a trait of the naturally talented, is revealed to be the product of persistent, habitual action. Another important aspect of consistency is its role in developing mastery. Talent, while valuable, is rarely enough on its own. It is effort, applied consistently, that transforms skill into expertise. Malcolm Gladwell popularized the idea of 10,000 hours to mastery, but the principle behind it is straightforward. Mastery is the result of practice repeated again and again consistently over time. The violinist does not become exceptional after a single practice session. The scientist does not make groundbreaking discoveries after one experiment. The chef does not perfect their signature dish overnight. Each increment of effort contributes to the gradual accumulation of skill, knowledge, and competence. Consistency is the engine that converts raw potential into refined ability, that turns knowledge into wisdom, that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Consistency also protects against the pitfalls of inconsistency, which often masquerade as progress. Many people begin with enthusiasm, energy, and intention, but quickly fall prey to distraction, fatigue, or impatience. They work hard for a few days, a few weeks, or even a few months, but when challenges arise, motivation wanes, or immediate results fail to appear, they abandon their efforts. Inconsistent action produces uneven results, frustration, and often a sense of failure, even when potential is high. Consistency, by contrast, maintains direction and stability. It does not rely on fluctuating emotions or temporary bursts of inspiration. It establishes a reliable pattern of behavior that withstands challenges, setbacks, and distractions. By showing up day after day, regardless of circumstances, you build resilience, cultivate discipline, and maintain forward momentum, even when the path seems difficult. The concept of consistency is closely tied to the notion of habits. Habits are the building blocks of daily life, the patterns that govern actions, decisions, and responses. By cultivating positive habits and adhering to them consistently, you automate progress. You reduce reliance on willpower, which fluctuates and tires easily, and instead rely on systems that produce results naturally. Habits such as reading, planning, reflecting, exercising, or saving money are small actions in isolation, but performed consistently, they create a ripple effect that permeates every area of life. The key is to focus not on monumental acts, but on sustainable routines that can be maintained day after day, week after week, month after month. Consistency is not about occasional heroics. It is about persistent, disciplined, reliable behavior that compounds over time. Furthermore, consistency generates credibility and influence in the eyes of others. People notice those who reliably deliver results, maintain integrity, and act with commitment. Leaders, mentors, employers, clients, and peers are drawn to individuals who demonstrate consistency because it signals dependability, accountability, and seriousness of purpose. When you consistently honor your commitments, follow through on promises, and maintain effort even when recognition is absent, you establish a reputation that opens doors, attracts opportunities, and builds lasting relationships. The world rewards those who act consistently, and it is through this steady, reliable action that influence, authority, and impact are cultivated. Consistency also acts as a safeguard against the emotional roller coaster of motivation. Motivation is fleeting. Some days you feel energized, inspired, and ready to tackle the world. Other days, exhaustion, doubt, and distraction threaten to derail progress. If your progress depends solely on fluctuating motivation, you are at the mercy of circumstance. Consistency, however, provides stability. By committing to a routine, a system, or a practice, you continue to move forward regardless of emotional state. You no longer rely on feeling motivated to take action. Instead, your actions create momentum, which fuels motivation in return. This is the engine of progress, small, consistent steps taken without reliance on temporary emotion, producing results that eventually reinforce the desire to continue. Now consider the relationship between consistency and momentum. Momentum is the natural byproduct of repeated action. Each consistent step adds speed and energy to your journey. At first, progress may feel slow, almost imperceptible. But as steps accumulate, momentum builds and forward motion accelerates. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable become manageable. Opportunities that were previously out of reach now appear within grasp. And confidence rises alongside competence. Consistency, therefore, is not merely about effort. It is about generating a force that propels you forward, creating conditions in which success becomes inevitable. The longer you maintain consistent action, the more powerful this force becomes, until it reaches a point where it carries you forward with a velocity and energy that cannot easily be stopped. Finally, consistency is a form of respect for yourself, for your goals, and for the process of growth. It is a declaration that your dreams are worth the daily investment, that your vision deserves deliberate, sustained effort, and that your future is worth the patience required to cultivate it. Every day you show up, you honor your potential. Every action, no matter how small, demonstrates commitment. Every repetition, no matter how mundane, strengthens the foundation upon which extraordinary results are built. Consistency transforms intention into action, action into habit, and habit into achievement. It is the engine that drives progress, the invisible force that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results, and the quiet architect of a life fully realized. Momentum is one of the most misunderstood forces in personal growth, yet it is one of the most powerful. People often confuse it with luck, chance, or coincidence, but momentum is neither accidental nor random. It is the natural outcome of consistent action, deliberate effort, and forward movement. Just as a snowball rolling down a hill gathers size, weight, and speed, momentum in your life works in the same way. It is invisible at first, it grows gradually, and eventually it carries you to places you once believed were impossible. The beauty of momentum is that once it starts, it attracts opportunity, shapes circumstances, and amplifies your results, turning ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Those who understand momentum recognize that success is rarely about a single breakthrough, a sudden inspiration, or a stroke of luck. It is about initiating motion, keeping it steady, and letting that motion accumulate power until it begins to draw in opportunities naturally, almost magnetically. Consider the way the world responds to people who are moving consistently forward. A person who takes small, intentional steps each day toward their goals gradually builds skill, experience, and knowledge. They begin to notice patterns, they anticipate challenges, and they develop solutions before problems arise. Their effort, repeated day after day, creates a rhythm in their life, a pattern that others perceive, even if they do not understand the underlying process. Doors that were once closed begin to open. Offers arrive without solicitation. People notice reliability, commitment, and capability, and they are drawn toward it. Momentum, in this sense, acts like a magnet. Energy in motion attracts opportunity, and the more consistent the motion, the stronger the pull. Many people fail to understand this principle because they look for instant results. They expect success to arrive fully formed, and when it does not, they conclude that their efforts are futile. Yet the reality is that momentum often operates quietly, invisibly, and gradually. Its effects are cumulative, and its rewards tend to arrive in ways that are both unexpected and exponential. The first step may feel small. The 10th step may feel inconsequential. But as each step follows the next, and as each action builds upon previous actions, momentum grows. Suddenly, what was once difficult becomes easier. What seemed impossible becomes achievable, and opportunities that were previously hidden or inaccessible begin to emerge. This is the power of the snowball effect in motion. Momentum is also inherently self-reinforcing. When you take action, you generate results, and results create confidence, and confidence fuels further action. The more you move, the easier it becomes to continue moving. The more you learn, the more capable you feel, and the more likely you are to embrace new challenges. The more disciplined you are, the more doors open, and the more you are able to seize opportunities that would have passed you by at an earlier stage. It is a virtuous cycle, one that multiplies the effects of every decision, every habit, and every step you take toward personal growth. People often underestimate how quickly momentum can transform a life because it starts subtly, invisibly, quietly, and then suddenly it is unstoppable. One of the most remarkable aspects of momentum is its ability to create opportunity where none existed before. When you are stagnant, when you are static, life appears limited. Opportunities are scarce, challenges seem insurmountable, and the sense of possibility is diminished. But when you are in motion, when you are learning, growing, and progressing consistently, you begin to attract circumstances, people, and situations that expand your horizons. Momentum makes you visible. It signals competence, commitment, and readiness, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. People notice those who are moving, and opportunity follows those who are prepared to act. The universe responds to motion, and in many ways, momentum is the language through which opportunity communicates. Those who harness momentum are able to step into possibilities that were invisible to those who remain idle. This is why taking consistent, deliberate action is so important, not just for achieving your immediate goals, but for positioning yourself to recognize and seize opportunities. Every small, positive step you take adds energy to your forward motion. Each action may seem minor in isolation, but together they create a force that cannot be ignored. Life begins to unfold differently for people in motion. Doors that seemed locked begin to swing open. Connections that once felt out of reach appear. Resources that were previously unavailable become accessible. Momentum is the hidden currency of opportunity, and those who cultivate it are the ones who reap the rewards. Opportunity, however, does not come to those who are passive. It does not favor the idle, the procrastinator, or the dreamer who waits for perfect conditions. It favors those who act, those who move, and those who persist. Momentum rewards initiative. It rewards consistency. It amplifies the effects of effort. A single bold decision may spark momentum, but only persistent, repeated action sustains it. People often fail to seize opportunity because they are not moving when it arrives. They are not prepared to recognize it. Momentum places you in the right place at the right time, but you must be in motion to take advantage of it. Think about the way momentum multiplies results in every aspect of life. In learning, momentum allows you to build knowledge rapidly. When you develop a habit of studying, practicing, and reflecting consistently, your understanding grows exponentially. Each new insight builds upon the last, and soon, concepts that once seemed complex or elusive become clear and intuitive. In relationships, momentum deepens connections. Consistent acts of care, attention, and engagement create trust and rapport, and opportunities for collaboration, support, and growth naturally arise. In health and fitness, momentum turns small victories into lasting transformation. Each workout, each healthy meal, each step toward wellness accumulates, creating a body and mind capable of far greater performance than any single effort could achieve. Momentum is a universal principle, one that applies to every area of life because it is the natural outcome of consistent, purposeful action. Momentum also transforms mindset. When you are moving forward consistently, when progress is evident, even if incremental, you develop confidence, resilience, and optimism. You begin to see yourself not as someone limited by circumstance, but as someone capable of shaping their reality through persistent effort. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to fear. Setbacks become temporary detours rather than permanent failures. Momentum shifts perception, opening your eyes to possibilities that were previously invisible. It is as if forward motion carries with it a new lens through which life is experienced, a lens that magnifies potential and minimizes limitations. Another profound aspect of momentum is its role in creating alignment between effort and opportunity. When you are moving forward, you naturally attract resources, allies, and situations that support your goals. People who are consistently learning, growing, and taking action often find that doors open at exactly the right moment. A mentor appears just when guidance is needed. A client or partner expresses interest when preparation has been made. An idea becomes viable because the groundwork has already been laid. Momentum aligns the universe with your efforts, not magically, but through the natural consequence of being prepared, capable, and visible in motion. Those who are ready are noticed, and those who are moving are prepared to seize the moment when it arrives. It is important to remember that momentum is not a temporary burst of energy or a fleeting period of motivation. True momentum is sustained movement over time. It is not about short-lived inspiration, but about deliberate, consistent action that compounds. It is built in the quiet moments, in the daily routines, in the repeated decisions to show up, to learn, to act, and to persist. Many people experience bursts of motivation, but few convert those bursts into lasting momentum. The difference lies in commitment. Momentum requires a long-term perspective, patience, and the understanding that results often appear delayed. But when cultivated, momentum becomes a self-sustaining force, one that carries you forward with increasing velocity. Momentum also magnifies opportunity because it reduces resistance. When you are in motion, challenges that once seemed formidable appear manageable. When you have built the habit of taking action, obstacles become problems to solve rather than reasons to quit. Momentum carries you past hesitation, fear, and doubt. It reduces friction in life because each forward step reinforces the habit of progress. In effect, momentum creates a path where one did not exist, smoothing the way for opportunity to flow naturally toward you. The more consistently you act, the more effortless your progress becomes, and the more doors open without the struggle, resistance, or struggle that accompanies stagnation. Finally, momentum is not only about creating external opportunities, but also about shaping internal possibilities. It builds resilience, self-efficacy, and belief in your own capacity. When you have momentum, you are less likely to be swayed by doubt, criticism, or temporary setbacks. You carry the confidence that comes from knowing you are already in motion, that you have already invested effort, and that each step adds weight to the force propelling you forward. Momentum becomes a source of empowerment, a reservoir of energy, and a magnet for opportunities, both seen and unseen. Momentum is the natural law of compounded action. Those who understand it leverage it to achieve extraordinary outcomes. Those who ignore it struggle to gain traction. Momentum creates opportunity because action begets results. Results build confidence. Confidence fuels further action. And action attracts circumstances that amplify progress. It is the invisible current beneath the surface of achievement, the force that turns ordinary effort into remarkable transformation, and the mechanism by which personal growth snowballs into success, influence, and fulfillment. When you cultivate momentum, you are not merely working toward a goal, you are creating a force that draws possibilities, people, and circumstances toward you, making the impossible achievable and the distant attainable.